As they say, follow your heart, use your head, and trust your gut. On today's episode of Stories of Strength, I have with me Amna Ali, and we will talk about the neuroscience behind Mbraining. Hello, Amna.
Hi, Amna. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for very generously agreeing to do this. Amna, can you tell us a little about yourself?
I'm a NLP Master Life Coach. I'm a strategic psychotherapist, a clinical hypnotherapist. I'm a inner child healing therapist. I'm a Reiki master, and I am a MBIT coach and an MBIT trainer. So these are the modalities I work with. I now call myself a holistic empowerment coach and an MBIT trainer because I work with so many modalities, and MBIT being a core modality that I use and has transformed my life. And I love to work with people who want to really tap into their authentic self and live from a place where they can learn the tools to really connect inside and create the life that they want.
Acha, Amna, can you tell us what is the concept of Mbraining and Mbit?
So MBIT is an absolute amazing modality developed by Grant Suzulu and Marvin Oka. Um, they were both, they are, Grant sadly has passed away, but it's something that brings together ancient wisdom and neuroscience together. And us coming from the East do really know the importance of really connecting inwards through our heart, but because of the industrial revolution that happened, there's been a disconnect. So neck down, we don't connect. So MBIT actually brings together backing with neuroscience and telling us that, there is this whole machinery within us that helps us to tap into our own wisdom and our own highest expression, which enables us to make better decisions in our lives, to live lives which are wholesome and really connect within.
Acha, Anna, when I was reading a little about it, I discovered that it talks about three brains. So, do you want to like shed light on what that means?
So interestingly, when Grant and Marvin were developing MBIT, they mindfully use the word multiple brains. So to begin with, whatever neuroscience has backed up right till up till now, we have three brains, but we have more than three brains, uh, which are yet to be discovered through or maybe confirmed by neuroscience. So that's why the little M is there. So let's focus on the head, heart, and gut for now. These are the three centers, and they're the three intelligence, and they are the three brains that we have. We just don't have one brain. We have actually got three brains, which we don't really use. Like we only use the head, and we disregard our heart, and we disregard the gut. And all the commotion that we see externally is actually happening within us also. Because when one brain is doing the work of all three,
Mhm.
or one is overruling the other one, there's going to be disconnect. And all three have their specific functions, their prime functions. A heart is just not a pumping machine for your blood, or the gut isn't just processing your food. It's so much more than that.
Acha, so do you think that is the reason why? Because we're not connected with heart and our gut, and we're not taking care of ourselves that way, and all the pressure is in right here. And do you think that is the reason why we sometimes feel so overwhelmed, or people are facing a lot of like anxiety and depression?
Thing is that we have these amazing intelligence within us, and when we're not utilizing them, yes, that is one of the basic cause of dealing with all the things that you're saying right now. Because when I'll give you an example
Mhm.
to make your listeners also and people who follow you understand this more.
Yeah.
When you think of something like, let's say, buying a house, right? It looks great, it has the perfect plan, and it has everything that you want on paper, which is there. But you walk into that house and you don't really feel connected. Yeah. And there isn't that warmth that you want in a home. But you still say, okay, it looks good, it's great on paper, it's a good neighborhood. You know what the hell, I'll just buy it.
Mhm.
But you don't feel that connect. What would happen when you start living in it? You'll never have that bond that you would have had if probably the design wasn't that great, but that connection was there.
Felt that warmth when you first walked in that place. Yeah.
Yes. So decisions need to be coming from a point of alignment. Sometimes the heart, I mean, in embed we say that the heart is the emperor. The heart is the emperor. The head is the general. The gut is the soldier. So when you are leading from the heart, when you and aligning, not just ke, oh, mera dil cha raha hai, and I want to do this, and you jump into something without processing or making meaning correctly with it. So it's just going to end up in a really bad state. But when it comes from a point of alignment, when you make decisions from aligning your heart, head, and gut, you will have a life which is more fulfilling, which is more connected. Um, I usually give this example in my trainings that you walk into a restaurant, uh, going out on a date with someone who you might think is a good match for you, but you have an Excel sheet with you, and
Mhm.
you have all these points ke, this XYZ, all these things should be there. And how do you think that relationship is going to pan out if it's all on the Excel? It will not, because that is the job not of the head brain, but of the heart brain.
Yes.
The connection needs the heart is the center of emotions, emoting, values, and relational affect, how you connect with others.
Mhm.
Coming from that point, if you disregard your heart, your life is going to be a little lopsided, right?
Yeah.
Then, if we come to the gut, usually the first feeling that you get of your excitement, or or you think that this is really deep, where do your hands move to? Your gut. I have this deep urge to do something. So the gut actually is the center of your core identity, of mobilization, meaning that when you're doing something, taking action, it resides in your gut. And then you have your self preservation is also sitting in your gut. And gut is actually the first brain that is developed when you're in the womb as well. So all these things are there present. And what Mbraining beautifully does is it helps you tap into your inner wisdom, your innate, visceral, core, deepest wisdom when you connect. And it's that emergent wisdom that helps you lead a life that is much more fulfilling. Uh, of course, there's a process to it. Of course, there are techniques to it, to connect and pause and listen. Uh, and how many times do we actually have a conversation with ourselves?
And it was
Really ask our heart what it truly deeply wants, what it truly wants. When do you ask your gut what it really needs? What does it hunger for? What does your heart sing for? What makes your heart sing? I mean, the rush that we live in, we don't even stop and look at ourselves in the mirror and have that face to face with ourselves. So sometimes we just need to pause and take a moment and sit with ourselves. And we have this gift within us. And what I really love about Embed is helping my clients really come up with their own wisdoming. See, whatever you say to anybody else
Mhm.
in your best intent is coming from your own
What
intellect or your own wisdoming. It's not what would resonate with them, maybe, right? It's something external, and something which is external, it's not going to really motivate them to do something or to really connect with themselves. So it's so important to do connect within yourself.
Achana, you said that there are techniques. So can you tell us that what are some of the techniques that we can apply in our daily lives when it comes to embed?
See, the number one thing is you have to be in a coherent state. So when I say coherent state, it means that you have to balance your ANS, which is your autonomic nervous system. So autonomic nervous system is how you balance your breath. And that's just one part of it. So when you sit and breathe in balance, in and really come into that coherent state where neither you are parasympathetic or sympathetic, you know. Um, Let me just explain that. So, parasympathetic is when you are in a calm, too calm state, relaxed state. And that relaxation, if it goes to extreme, it goes into depression, right? So that's parasympathetic. Sympathetic is your up and energy and all, and you need, there's no bad or good, it's just it's being in that balanced state. Sometimes so when you come into that balanced state, that is the point when you can really sit with yourself and connect inwards, because your heart doesn't have language, it doesn't have words. uh, your gut doesn't have words. So it could be feelings, symbols, colors. Um, and that's how you bring up those messages from within. And it's a beautiful process. Of course, it's a process that you learn and then
Do
to
it yourself, like getting that calm state? Because I mean, I don't know about others or you, but my mind, like I'm sitting with you, I'm talking to you, my mind would be thinking like thousand other things. Even like there are days when I'm doing namaz, and during my namaz, I'm unable to concentrate because there's so much going around me that I'm constantly like thinking about it. Oh, like I have to finish this, I have to go get my daughter, or I have to do this, I have to do that. So, how do you like get to that stage where you can take out that moment for yourself and not think about anything that is going on, but just be in that state?
mindfulness doesn't have to um, happen for 10 hours, right? Balance breathe. I mean, I'll share this with you. 2.5 minutes of balanced breathing gives you, I think, 12 hours of that calmness that you need for the day.
Oh,
2.5 minutes. That's all.
And
And of course,
I
see,
think
it's
everyone can take out that time for themselves, 2.5 minutes. Yeah.
and it again, everything requires repetition. It requires uh learning, constantly applying yourself हम बहुत जल्दी what happens is that we get tired and we don't do things. All knowledge is in doing. The doing is important. uh Getting into that mastery level of being at a certain point requires that work.
Years
And
and training.
it requires that resilience and persistence, doing it constantly, 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 until it becomes a part of you, until it becomes that visceral part of you on a cellular level. And we need to give, cut some slack for ourselves, because it's not going to happen in one day. You're not going to be like that Zen person in one day. So give that space to yourself, that time to yourself, to be able to come into that practice of every day doing, repeating until and unless you really hone on to it and it becomes a second skin. So हम बहुत जल्दी थक जाते हैं, हम बहुत जल्दी कहते हैं कि it has to happen right now. It doesn't have to happen right now. It may take um, a few days, a few months to really get into that practice. So be kind to yourself.
I think
Be
that's
kind to yourself.
important. Yes, it
Yeah.
is so important. Acha, mujhe batao, what are some of the questions or misconceptions you encounter from the people that you try to introduce Mbraining to?
So interestingly, in my years of practice, I haven't really encountered anyone who would oppose to this modality, because like I told you, I work with different modalities. So in my practice also, anything that I do, I will educate my client. There will be a little teaching session before I get into it. And it has a lot of new. So we have those skeptics, and we have the head brain, making logic and meaning of everything. So with M-braining, it is so much research and so much it's so much backed with neuroscience that for that skeptic, there's this whole bunch of research that there's there to satisfy and satiate that hunger for knowing what and how and when.
Getting
So
into.
yes, yes, even interestingly,
So you don't hear those words because any
कि जो लोग मेरे पास आते हैं, they're ready to make that change, and they're not able to find how to do it for themselves. uh, अल्लाह की तरफ दिल लगाना, तो अल्लाह तो आपके दिल में बसता है ना। ये तो हमारे दीन ने भी कहा कि कल्ब से ज्यादा करीब हो।
Mhm.
तो um, वो I mean, I'm going to quote Nadia here because she recites Bulle Shah so beautifully. I would not do justice to that, but जैसे वो बुल्ले शाह ने कहा कि मंदिर ढा दे, मस्जिद ढा दे, ना ढा किसी का दिल के दिला में रब रहता है। तो जब आप हम अपने वही बात है, एंशंट विजडम और न्यूरो साइंस को जब कनेक्ट करते हैं,
Mhm.
तो वो चीज आपको सामने बहुत आप अपने भाई आप वॉट एवर न्यूरॉन्स एंड न्यूरो नेटवर्किंग and the neural connections are in your head, they're in your heart as well. They're in your gut as well. And I'll share something with you right now.
Mhm.
And anyone who is listening, and if they want to try it, I would love for them to try it. So take a moment, just sit back and take a deep breath in and breathe out. And let your breath go all the way to your stomach. Let your stomach rise and then relax. And as you focus on your breath, I want you to think of a memory of someone who you dearly love, who you really connect with. Bring that memory up of a person or your pet or anyone who you have deep, loving connection with. And now, as you think of that person who you deeply love and connect with, place your hand on your heart and breathe into that feeling of love, connection. Just feel it growing and connect with it. And now just place your hand on your shoulder as you think of that person you connect with. And notice. And now open your eyes.
Oh, I already feel so light.
I want you to tell me when you were thinking of that person, when you place your hand on your heart, what happened for you? Did it intensify?
It did, and I felt
It did.
yes, it did. It did. It was so beautiful.
And when you placed your hand on your shoulder, what happened then? Disconnect, right? You did that 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 feeling that went from 10 to 100 perhaps went down.
Yes, yes, it did.
It did. So this tells you that your heart holds memory, and to be considered a brain, that is a requirement when you characterize or make that division of what is a brain and what constitutes of a brain or not. That's just one tiny example.
Mm-hmm.
That when you place your hand on your heart, that feeling of love and connection just takes you up there. And when you place anywhere, if I had asked you to put your hand on your wrist, it would have disconnected, because that intense emotion that you felt of that memory was intensified due to the heart.
Right.
So, um, yeah.
It was
And perhaps this was the
beautiful.
first time you really placed and acknowledged your heart also.
Yes, yes. No, this is really beautiful. Acha, before we go, for my listeners who are new to Mbraining, what would be the three takeaways or actions that they could take to start towards this journey?
So, I'll share a quote with you and your readers from Dalai Lama. Knowledge coupled with a warm heart brings wisdom. So, whatever decisions you make in your life, incorporate your heart and your gut so that it brings that warm wisdom. And wisdom is not कि एक चीज एक दफा में ही wisdom है. It's emergent, it's constantly evolving. And it just helps you to really tap in within yourself and trust yourself. Y- Your body is giving you those signals. Listen to them. Open your ears, your heart to listening. Hear them out. Sometimes, even before danger happens, you have that feeling.
Feeling in our gut,
Have
yes.
that, yes, you have that feeling. Your body is telling you. But what do? We push it back.
Push it back.
When you start really listening to yourself, you will really evolve as your authentic version. And embraining is so beautiful because it it gives that perspective of bringing that ancient wisdom back, but also neurological evidence supports it. I mean, Grant and Marvin did so much research before they developed this beautiful modality. Hundreds of scientific papers, thousands and thousands of research papers, uh, and coupled with, behavior modeling, NLP, um, esoteric wisdom, all these things, and then coming up with a modality which resonates with so many people with so much depth. So I would really urge people to trust themselves and gain that knowledge to listen from a point, and how to listen. I'm not going to, okay, my heart is saying something and I must listen to it. Okay, no, no, it has to be compassion with intelligence. Compassion is a word that not going too much into the details, but all the actions that you do, it has to be, I mean, all the things that you need to do has to have action. If it is not coupled with the action bit, it just becomes a beautiful idea.
Mm-hmm.
So the gut needs to be engaged into that mobilization, what it really needs to do. You may care for someone, but if you're not doing that action of showing that care, it's meaningless, right? You
Yeah.
may say, oh, I love that person, I want to do something for the community, I want to, do something. But if they're just ideas from your
Right.
head, not coupled with the gut action bit, the motivation to do it, it's just a beautiful dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the action has to be there.
Acha, Amna, before we go, I had a question. Do you do your sessions online as well for my followers who would like to do? Okay, so I'm going to put your Instagram handle out there so that whoever wants to reach out to you, they can do that. And I don't know about anybody else, but I learned a lot and I would really want to learn more from you, and I'll definitely be reaching out to you.
Thank you so much. I would love to help as many people as I can. And it's truly a gift to get to know yourself on that level.
Yes, thank you so much. This was lovely. Thank you, Amna.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Allah Hafiz.
Yes.